recording, and we are now live. So hello everyone on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for being patient with us as I was experiencing some technical difficulties getting us up and running. So I do apologize, but thank you so much. And joining us for our bi-weekly Strategic Partner Education Moment series. This week we are featuring Lisa Basaraba, who is a professional home stager and interior designer. And she's here today to talk to us about the importance of home staging through the listing process and how it can add significant value both to the bottom line, plus to your clients and home sellers' experience. So Lisa, I'm going to pass it on over to you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. As Alex said, my name is Lisa Basaraba, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about home staging. I'm just going to share my screen here because I have a little presentation to go through. Can you see my screen, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So who am I? I'm an interior design consultant. I attended the residential interiors certification through the University of Alberta about 6 years ago and have been working in design for the last 6 years. Specifically, I've really had a focus on home staging for the last 5 years. I do everything from floor plans to space planning, all the way up to staging. And today I'm going to run through a couple of things for you. First of all, we're going to talk about some common misconceptions about staging that I've found. We're going to talk about some of the benefits, and we're going to talk about why I can be one of your greatest assets when it comes to listing your clients' homes, as well as talk about maybe some burning questions you might have. And I'm going to give you my contact information at the end so that if you do have any specific questions, you can feel free to reach out to me at any time. Perfect. So talking about some of the common misconceptions with home staging. A lot of times I hear from clients is that they can stage their own home. The fact is that it's actually very difficult for homeowners to look at their own house objectively. Living in a house, one becomes accustomed to the sights, sounds, and smells of their environment. Asking a professional home stager to evaluate the home will allow you to get a sneak peek at what buyers will really be focusing on, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Another common misconception is that home staging costs too much. Home staging does cost some money, but it also pays. The average cost of a complete staging project is usually much less than your first price reduction. Statistically, homes that have been properly prepared for the market sell before a price reduction is needed. In a good or bad housing market, some studies have shown that staged homes can add between 10 to 15% of sale values on homes. There will be staging costs, but it doesn't cost that much to stage, and we'll go through that a little bit later in my presentation. Another common misconception I hear is that a decorated home is a staged home. This is just not the fact at all. Decorating involves putting the existing homeowner's tastes and styles into the home and making it personal. Staging is actually the opposite of that. It's really taking the personality of the house so the decor is super neutral and appealing to the broadest range of potential home buyers. Stagers, like myself, can help agents make the market the home as a product by staging and using marketing principles. Another misconception is that people will save time if they list their house first and then stage afterwards. And actually, it's really best to have the home stage at first point of contact. Think of the importance of first impressions. The greatest buzz about a house is generally when it first hits the market. Referring to a real estate statistics, homes that have been staged first, then listed, sell quicker than homes that were listed first, then staged. Results don't lie. And then the last one is that staging, or the second last one, sorry, is that staging is a fad. Although introduced on television circuit through like popular HGTV shows and etc., home staging has actually been around since like the 1970s. Staging is common at open houses, and in most provinces, agents and sellers are starting to recognize the value of a stage home, not because it's trendy, but because it actually works. And then the last one, which is my favorite common misconception, is that staging means that they'll need to move out all their furniture. You know, I've done probably between, I want to say like 40 staging consults in my 5 years, and I've very rarely had to actually move furniture out of somebody's home. Typically, I would use the existing furniture, sometimes suggesting like a different placement or just like a better layout. Sometimes it means throwing some stuff into storage, but very rarely does it mean that you'd have to move out all of your furniture and then move all new furniture in. So what are the benefits of home staging? Your clients will make more money. Your listing will sell faster, which equals to less headaches and hassles. The cost of staging is low when you factor in sale price and your commission. Most home sellers cannot view their house objectively. You and your clients will have less guesswork, and only 10% of buyers can visualize the potential of a home. The longer your home is on the market, the lower the price will be, stage first. And leaving your house in as-is condition will help sell the competition. How can I help? I'm a proven professional, and I'm here to take the stress work out of staging. I'm a buffer between you and your client, having difficult conversations that could tarnish the rapport that you've worked hard to build with them. I'm an objective person, and because I am a consultant, your clients can literally choose to take on as much or as little as what I suggest. I can cater my plan to be as involved as you need me to be, but ideally my ideal clients are motivated ones. I will send you everything you discussed, everything that I discussed with your client to you and to them in a written report, so that any of the changes that I suggest we do are in writing. And some other burning questions. So one of the biggest things that I get asked the most is probably like, what is the cost? A typical staging consult when you book with me costs anywhere between $100 and $200, and usually is just using the furniture and decor items that the client already has in the home. If you look at the overall purchase price and commission that you'd be getting from a home, that cost is relatively low. So for me, staging should be a no-brainer. Also, how long does it take? Typically, the meeting or the walkthrough that I do with the client will take anywhere from as low as 20 minutes all the way up to a couple of hours, just depending on how large the home is, how many questions they have, and then also how big of a project it is. If there's a lot of clutter and a lot of stuff to go through, generally the meeting will take a little bit longer. When should you give me a call? I personally prefer if you can give me a call as soon as you get that listing agreement signed. I like to be looped in right away just because I have a really busy schedule. I'm a new mom. I like to have a lot of notice and I like to plan. So the sooner you let me know, the sooner I can make sure that I get in. On another front, it's great for me to be introduced towards the beginning of the process, just because sometimes my suggestions are vast and sometimes it does take some time, to get the listing ready to be photographed and to be listed. Is there any extra work required of you? Absolutely not. So I have a lot of realtors that I work with that will come to the meeting and they'll take notes and they'll just be a part of the process. I have realtors that I work with that have never come to one of my consults. Really, like as far as like the extra work from you, that's really up to you. I'm happy to take on your clients as if they are my own. And I always try to make sure that I am representing you in a positive way. Is it worth the investment? I would say absolutely, especially when you consider some of the statistics for time spent on the market versus how much effort it is to have a staging consult. Like, is that 1 to 2 hours of meeting with your client and maybe, some of the work that goes into making sure that the product or that the listing is up to date, it's a fraction of the cost of what you're selling your overall commissions for. So I think it's definitely worth it. And I had a slide here for any other burning questions, but I guess you can email them to me. So I have my contact information right here. My email is lisabasarabadesigns@gmail.com. You can check me out on Instagram. You can give me a call or you can have a look at my website. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm going to get you to go back to the other page um, just so you can leave up your contact information on a little bit longer,
Okay.
just so then that way as we're asking this, or we'll put it up at the end because I'll ask you a couple questions here that are coming through.
Perfect.
One is, what is your most common find when you're going out to a house?
That's a great question. Honestly, my most common find is that people have too much furniture in their house. Usually they have to put some things into storage and or declutter. And sometimes that's a difficult conversation to have with people. Sometimes that's hard for them to hear. But again, it's coming from a very objective source. So you don't have to worry about any of the friction that comes with that conversation. I get to have it with the clients for you.
Okay. I'm sure that's always been a couple real fun ones. Next one is, so if how aggressive are you on your communication with them? So if you come walk into a property and it's evident that there's needs to be painting, there needs to be furniture moved, there needs to be some major repairs, like, do you make the full-blown recommendation of this is what needs to be done, or do you broke down like, these are the sections I would say first, second, third priority, then it's up to you whether you what you want to do as a priority list?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. As far as priorities go, I always, when a realtor first touches base with me, I always go through, first of all, how motivated are the clients? If they are extremely motivated, and if they're in a market like this, where, as you know, it's kind of heating up because people are spending so much time at home due to COVID. They realize, oh, I really don't like where I live. I want to make a change. So when you have an influx of homes on the market, you have to make it look as attractive as possible. So usually I'll get like the temperature of the client by asking you to see how motivated they are. I can also tell, by how receptive they are to my feedback, how many questions they're asking, that kind of thing. If it's somebody really motivated and it's going to require a ton of work, I usually just ask permission to be really, really transparent with them. And then I try to have as difficult of conversation as possible. It's less about them, but it's more or less setting up the idea that their home is an asset, and to try to take the personality of it, because it's really just a business transaction at the end of the day.
Yeah. We have offices in Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Lethbridge, and Calgary. I'm going to assume Calgary and Lethbridge might be a little bit out of your drive radius, but where in the greater Edmonton area then do you serve? Do you serve Sherwood Park and Edmonton?
Absolutely. So I serve basically anybody in the greater Edmonton area. I will say, however, I'm very well connected in the staging community. So there have been times where people have come with me and they have a project out in Beaumont. And in that instance, I actually have people that I will refer if it's actually not a good fit or if it's too much of a drive for me. But always ask me first, because if I don't know the answer, I can always put you into contact with the best stager for you.
Awesome. Well, throw up your contact information again, Lisa, so we can get everyone to reach out to you. And um, so perfect. So this is Lisa's contact information, both email, Instagram, phone number, and her website. So please do reach out to her if you have any specific questions yourself, or if you have some clients that you think could really benefit from having a professional staging consultation. Um, Otherwise, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to speak to you, and I apologize for the um, uh, technical difficulties I was experiencing earlier. So thank you for your patience.
It's all great, Alex. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I always love reaching out to people in the community and building up my network.
Wonderful. Okay, have a great rest of your day, Lisa, and we'll talk later.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.